Hey guys, Marte Money here. Very excited to show you another exciting topic talking about landlords and what to do and what not to do. But before we get started on the topic, I have two really important guests with me today. I have Celine with New World Title and You Know What to Do. And of course, Jim's here as well with Century Fund. We're going to talk about what landlords should and shouldn't do and what are some of the pitfalls that we go through. I know we're always talking about the good news, the appreciation, the cash flow, and the rentals, but what are actually some things that you can avoid and what are some myths that we can also overcome? To get started, I would say cash flow is one of the most important things when it comes to being a landlord. And that's why a lot of people want to invest into rental property. But what happens if your cash flow really from your rental units isn't enough to cover your mortgage payment or to live the lifestyle that you're looking to live? Jim, how else can we actually increase that cash flow on the property?
I mean, there's many ways depending on the property. I mean, the basement can be utilized. I mean, the garage space. I mean, technically parking maybe if there's a lot. I mean, every property is different. So you have to look at it and kind of assess the situation. I see guys now using laundry machines in the basement, coin laundries and different things like that. Extra money, $100 here, $200 there.
Yeah,
it brings it up.
Vending machines.
That'd be great, right? In a 3-family rental.
I actually had
you never know.
I actually had a client years ago. He was a professor at a university. He had student housing, and inside the student housing, he had a vending machine.
Oh wow!
He said that the cash flow from the student housing paid for the property, and the vending machine was money that he put aside for his daughter to go to college one day. So basically, there is a bunch of different ways to add cash flow to your property. Salim, do you have any additional?
I would look into pet rent and see, and you could also do it based on the size of the animal. If it's over a certain amount of pounds, over 25 pounds or something, you can say, pick a number, 75 a month, 125, 250. I've seen some leases where it's up to $350 extra per month. And a lot of households are not willing to do it. A lot of landlords avoid it because of the potential damage that pets do.
Yeah, that's true.
And they want to deny pets. And now it's more of the norm. And so to adjust with the times, I would say, and that's a huge increase in your monthly cash flow and in the cap rate of your property. If you increase it, let's say you have 2 units and you increase it by $250 a month, that's an exponential increase in your cap rate as well as a landlord.
I would just say the following. If you are a new landlord and you don't know what to do when you're trying to rent out the unit to gain more cash flow, literally go on apartments.com and apply for a rental. And you're going to see all the different fees and different things that they're literally having you pay for in order for you to rent. There's fees for the Wi-Fi. You could be taking out the trash or to cutting the grass, literally for storage, for everything. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can go simply look for information and find it and talk to professionals like us to help you. And that's what makes a difference. We're going to help you gain your increase your cash flow, help you make profit and make money. So you don't have to be guessing all of the time. McDonald's does a lot of research to figure out where they're going to put the next store. Why are you going to go figure out where's going to be the best next rental? Look for Walmart, all these big box stores, where are they literally putting new stores? And that might be a good indication of where you should be renting because they've already done the market analysis. Would you guys agree?
Sure. Yeah.
That wasn't very convincing. Would you agree?
I don't know. We'll go with what Waldry said at this point.
In my humble opinion, I think it makes a lot of sense because no big box store is going to invest millions of dollars in a location unless they've already figured out the demographic and the people in there.
So I'm going to be a little bit more particular. I'm going to push back in the sense.
I love that.
Who's our target audience? Like who's the target landlord that we're targeting? Are we targeting the mom and pop landlord that's buying their first investment unit? Are we targeting the more sophisticated investor looking for their 10 to 20 unit rental building? And that's the reason I'm kind of giving pause to it in the sense, because at the end of the day, I just would look at the numbers. Does it make sense from an investment perspective? Right? Based on running the numbers, your P&L, after paying off all your expenses and your debt servicing, are you going to cash flow? That's what I would look at. I don't look at anything else. And then I would also look at the value add. But first and foremost is, am I going to cash flow? And then I look at my value adds after that.
I would say that this is definitely for 1 to 4 and more mom and pop. The sophisticated investors don't have to be watching videos like this. They already know who to call, right?
But I'll tell you, if you go to Newark, you'll see the mom and pop that are sitting on $3 million, $4 million, $10 million investment portfolios while working a blue collar job, right? Just because they bought cheap, they've held on to it, paid off their mortgage after 25 years, right? And they're not sophisticated, but also a lot of them want to get to the next stage and aren't taking advantage of a lot of these best practices just because they just figured it out on the fly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we deal with tons of those from especially the immigrant and minority communities that we come from.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, there is a lot that they could benefit from just these small little things if they just adjust. I would say like one of the things that I've seen is they don't take advantage of getting professionals for what they're worth. They'll still have the same accountant from when their portfolio and their net worth was 100,000 to when it's 5 million. And they don't understand the tax advantages that are there for them by owning this real estate, so on and so forth, or how to even do legacy planning. And so that's kind of where I think, you know, if you can kind of get in there and they would come to you and be like, okay, how do I scale my portfolio from 2 million to 20 million? And it could probably be overnight for a lot of them.
I would agree with the overnight because a lot of investors that I've come across that bought property 10, 20 years ago in areas like you mentioned, Newark, Jersey City, in New York City, in the boroughs, etc. They've now have massive appreciation, are sitting on all this equity, and they're constantly calling me, how do I tap into this equity? What do I do with the money once I have it? Because I can't just have it depreciating. And that is a shameless plug to say, if you need any professional, all you have to do is call Waldry Marte Money, and I will point you in the right direction, whether that's an estate attorney, whether that's a good title company, a lender, or contractor, literally anyone that you may need to talk to. I surround myself with well-known and professional people to make sure that you don't have to do all of the work in finding out who can help you the best.
Well, I think that's one of the most important things. Your strategy and who you network with and who you utilize will make and break your business.
100,000% correct. Now, switching gears a little bit, talking about rental loans and such as well. I have a lot of clients that oftentimes call me, hey, I have bad credit, but I own the property under an LLC or an entity, and I wanted to do a cash out refinance. What can I do to get maximum leverage? What would you recommend to somebody like that, Jim?
They have to bring up their credit score. They have to repair it. They want to repair it if they're going to build up their portfolio or invest anymore. Mm-hmm. So your credit health is absolutely huge in this business. And maintaining that, where you definitely have people to help maintain their credit of whatever is going on in the world today, as far as that goes.
So when should someone start looking at repairing their credit? When they have the immediate need of needing the money now? Or is it before they even realize they need the money? Is it at what point in the process would you recommend they start looking into that?
I mean, they should be checking immediately before they're going to start buying and looking to invest or do anything like that. They need to know their credit health and then where they have to be as far as getting loans wise, and then growing from there as far as that goes. And that also comes back with accountants and stuff like that, having the right financial planners, different accountants to build a strategy. I want to get to here. I want to do this, and set a plan. You got to plan this out.
I think anyone that's serious about financial planning should immediately just download Credit Karma. And I know all of the lenders will be like, it's not accurate or this and that. No, just download it so you can get a gauge of where you are in terms of your overall financial health, right? And check it every day. I have a habit. I don't need to look into my credit at all, but I just want to be like, oh, is there anything going on? And I kind of like the app. It's cool. Get Credit Karma and just look at your credit every day. Develop that.
You gotta be a little bit more humble than that. I don't gotta look at my credit. I already know it's 900. No,
came out the wrong way.
No, we have to have fun. This is what we do on a daily basis. We have fun. We help clients. We make content, and we're here to help you guys get to your next level. So if you guys are looking for good advice, if you need to have a laugh, if you're looking for a professional, you know who to call. You know what to do. Marte Money is here to help you every day. So what Salim means is the more you cash flow on the property, the more the property is going to be worth. It's not. There's multiple ways to determine the value of a commercial property, because really this topic is commercially investment property. The more cash flow you have on a property, the more the value is going to increase. You can determine the value of a property as per an appraisal. Jimmy could jump in, by the cost approach, meaning what does it cost to build the property and to get it to where it's at currently. You can value a property by the cash flow. How much is it producing? And using a multiple of the cap rate to determine the actual value of the property itself based upon the demographic and the zip code area. And the third way you can determine the property value is by the comparables. Are there any similar properties in the area sold within the last 6 to 12 months that are going to be showing what the potential value of this subject property is going to be? However, with the comparable approach, not all properties are comparable, especially if we're talking about mixed use or commercial property, because perhaps on one block you have only one building that is a pizzeria and 3 apartments on top, and for the next 10 miles, you don't have a building like that. And that's what lenders and appraisers, oftentimes look at other ways to determine the property value. So to answer your question with the pet rent, if you're increasing your rental income by another $6,000 a year or $500 a month, that is going to obviously increase the value of the property, and more investors are going to be more interested in buying that asset.
And that's with anything, like when Jim
Yeah.
kind of said the laundry and or storage. I know people that have introduced the cages, and then they'll do different, like, hey, because anyone that's in an apartment needs additional storage. All of these, just you have to look at every single way that you can monetize every piece of land and asset that you have on that parcel of
But
land.
will it appraise though?
Oh, and
That's
that's the other
the
thing.
thing, though.
And but talk about the appraisal, Jim. Talk about how are the lenders analyzing the income, though?
I mean, listen, all that extra income is great and it's awesome, but the fact of the matter is, it's not. There has to be comparables. It has to add up, apples to other similar properties.
So lenders don't always take into account all the other extra income.
As long as the leases are a certain amount and there are other leases that are comparable and other apartments comparable, depending on what's up, it has to make sense. You might be getting $500 extra per apartment. That doesn't mean it's going to comp out. You're going to get that value.
So you're saying unless the appraiser can find other buildings or apartments in the area that also show a lease with the same amount, it may not be.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, think about it from a lender's point of view. We also want to protect ourselves to a certain extent, right? But that doesn't mean it's not a good deal. Doesn't make sense, or you're going to make a lot more money per month and utilize that. I mean, it's a catch-22.
So are you telling me, Jim, that there's deals that for a lender might not be a good deal, but for the investor it could still be a good deal?
There are deals out there that, it might pen out for a lender, but it's much more profitable down the line once you get these extras thrown on, where the cash flow could be very nice every month, that you can utilize that for improvements or other properties. That's how these investors make money, right? But it might not be appraisal worthy. So you should talk to the lender and to maybe your contractor, whoever you're doing the renovations and how you're doing it. Work it like that as far as that goes. It's a property by property situation.
Switching gears, Jim, we've been doing a lot of new construction lately.
Yeah.
And Jim has been in my ear every single day. Wall Street, we got to get new construction clients. We got to talk to builders. We got to talk to developers, yada, yada, yada. And lo and behold, we put it out to the universe and we've been getting more new construction and developers.
Yes.
What are some of the hurdles that you're seeing in some of our files recently or over some time when it comes to new construction and development?
Their scope of works and their plans. We cannot do our job as a lender without having a picture of what they're doing there. You can't tell us you're going to build a 4,000 square foot house and not have plans and their scope of work figured out.
Now, when does someone get, let's say you're in the process of buying a house, when does someone actually get those plans?
They should have some sort of preliminary plans right off the bat, as you were learning. Yeah. So they need to know, because how do they determine what their resale value is going to be without comparables? Now you need some sort of plans to figure that out. Apples to apples again, right? And you want to have that to protect yourself. When you're doing the research or you're under contract and stuff like that, you want a little bit of time to close it, to get all these things ready. Because if it doesn't make sense, you can't do the deal, and you shouldn't do the deal, not push the deal. But at least in northern New Jersey, New York, and certain areas, there's not a lot of inventory. So how do you add on square footage, you build a new house, and there's buyers galore. So I think there's a lot more deals like that compared to regular cosmetic flips right now. I think it's a little bit easier when you have the right people, because you don't open a wall and find duct tape plumbing together. It's all new. And there's some really good contractors out there. You just have to network and find them. And when
call Marte Mike.
Yeah, there you go. If you find the right guys and build the right team, I like new construction a lot. I think it's safer. There's less hidden stuff because you're building new. Now, that's my point of view, and I've been doing it for a while. Other people might think otherwise. But
are you going to give the money to someone with no experience?
No,
okay,
not at all.
So that's
not at all.
How do we overcome the fact that there's a lot of people that perhaps I had clients that have owned property, double lot properties. They've subdivided and now they want to build a brand new house next door and sell it. So how does someone that has zero experience in new construction and development get a new construction loan in order to build?
They want to partner up with somebody for at least their first one. of some way or form to make sure they do it right. You have to practice before you start, getting out there, and having a seasoned veteran that you're partnering up with, you're going to learn the pitfalls of doing all these little intricacies with these projects. And you don't want to lose money. You want to make money. You're here to learn and build and grow and stuff like that. So I highly recommend find somebody that can kind of walk you through it. And, the best guys out there, they all did that. They partnered up with somebody in the first one, second one, and they kind of get a feel of what's going on number wise and everything else and go from there.
Do you have someone like that in your current?
We do. We have a bunch of people that we could recommend depending on the area. There's a lot of good contractors and builders out there that are also looking to team up with people and do more projects. Sometimes contractors and builders are good at executing, but not always finding. So sometimes it's a really good match together when they hook up.
Jim, do you oftentimes help clients come together, perhaps with contractor and builders, to partner up to be able to get deals happening?
Absolutely. We want them safe. We want these guys to make, do well and grow. So it's almost like going to school a little bit when you start this first project and you get a feel for it. And, it's very important, and we have certain people we can recommend.
You know what? I just wanted to say this because on top of my mind, it happened to me today, yesterday, and other days. Guys, you have to be honest. And what I mean by that is we got a scope of work, and my client might see this, and that's okay, brother. We're both learning. We got a scope of work that said that he was going to rebuild the property that fix and flip for $200,000. But when the appraiser went to the property and took pictures, and us as a lender saw the photos of the property, we realized that it was a complete knockdown. And there was no way that was going to be a fix and flip. It's going to be a new construction house. The only thing that was going to be remaining was maybe a wall and part of the foundation.
I mean, there was no back wall of the house.
There was no wall in the back of the house.
Which is very entertaining.
So had this client had told us up front, hey, here's some photos of the house, or hey, this is what I saw.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to every single property. We physically can't. This is what's going on. Then we would know there's going to be a new construction loan, and things are a little bit differently. But when you're sometimes not honest, and it's not perhaps on purpose, it's just maybe you're not aware, right? This is why we're making this video of what's going on. It's going to just delay the process. And it's not that it can't get done, but it's going to take another 30 or 60 days when it could have been done in 3 or 4 weeks. Now something's going to go back and maybe perhaps change the title work because the loan amount changed or the lender changed or whatever. We got to go back to the underwriting and explain to them hey, this guy does have experience, but there was lack of communication. Now we got to backpedal. Now the rate's going to change or the points are going to change, the scope of work. Everything has to line up. And it's very important for you guys to be fully transparent upfront about exactly what's going on. And perhaps it is an issue or it's not, but we can overcome it in the beginning. But when we try to overcome something halfway through, that's when there's a lot of issues that arise, and then we have to kind of pivot.
People have to realize that we're here to help. We really are. And
we're here to help.
We've seen it all. So if they tell us what's going on, we know how to help them out to fill in the gaps or solve the problem.
You have to treat all of your relationships as business partners, like they're actual business partners. And the more transparent you are, the easier you make it for yourself. Because if you're not transparent with me, then I'm not going to take you seriously. I'm not going to refer you to my business partners. And guess what? I have realtors that won't refer their best deals to people we know. We spoke about it earlier.
Yeah.
Just because they were like, the person's not serious. We can't trust what they say. We're not going to refer. So you're actually limiting the amount of deals that come to your desk by not being a good business partner, right? The better you are with your partners, the better they'll be to you.
It's a very much of a trust game over time. We're lending a lot of money. We want to trust them and make sure they're doing well, and vice versa. It goes back and forth.
Look, at the end of the day, we're not looking to waste anybody's time.
No.
There is a lot of people involved in every single deal. The average transaction has a buyer's agent, a seller's agent, a buyer's attorney, a seller's attorney, a lender, an inspector, an appraiser, a title company, an insurance agent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're talking about 10 different companies, and there's probably 30, 40 people involved within the 10 different companies. So our goal is to be able to help you acquire your property or refinance your loan or whatever you have going on as soon as possible so we can continue to help more people. And the more information you give us up front, the faster we're able to help you and make a difference in your day.